going on, Jeromes? So, for whatever reason, the daylight savings has really messed up my sleep schedule. So, wide awake and getting some stuff done. Just got done watching the stupid rock fight that was the Panthers and the Bears. So, I'm gonna fire up a little Q&A. Well, we're gonna do the Q&A video as a live stream. So, people will be able to find it. There we go. So, also comb through the questions. A lot of Dobbs or Jan Hall questions. We tried to pare it down a little bit, but yeah. So if your question didn't get answered, probably a lot of really redundant ones all up in there. Thanks very much for coming along, and this will be a good time. Also, reminder: the Thanksgiving fundraiser going on. We did this last year. Did we do it 2 years ago? We might have, but all Venmos, all super chats in November will go to Twin Cities Food Shelves, or make arrangements, shoot me an email, all that stuff, and it's some of that's really near and dear to our hearts. Love trying to pay it forward. I try to make someone's holidays just a little bit better and brighter, and just really being thankful and grateful for what we got. You guys are the best. We're gonna match some donations as well. Plus, I just love supporting every meal. Formerly Sheridan store here in the Twin Cities, and all the various Twin Cities food shelves as well. So you guys are the best, and thank you very much for that. So getting into the questions. First up is Daniel R. Hodges, 1659. In-depth analysis of our second-year players that were drafted high, their progression, development, playtime, etc. Nobody seems to be talking about Booth, Scene, or Osma. So Booth is getting intermittent time at cornerback. Scene has been a healthy scratch, and Osma has been dinged up. So yeah, has been a banner year for second-year guys, although Ed Ingram has played extremely well. Give him credit there. David Villanumero, 7. Thoughts on a Jerome community gathering? PA's got his Friday feast, and maybe we could do a Drombardi jam. We actually considered it. Looking at the calendar, maybe doing like a Sunday gathering the week that the Vikings are supposed to play the Bears on Monday night. If it stays a Monday night game, it could be flexed out. Giving us that. Otherwise, we'll be in Vegas. All that stuff. Jack Hall. Do you think we could keep Josh Dobbs on the team in the future? Probably not as a starter, but a good backup. Depending on how he plays the rest of the year, he's a free agent, so he could get paid somewhere else to be a bridge quarterback, or he could get paid here, or if he does well enough, or even if he sits and Jaron Hall takes over, maybe he does return as a backup. Who knows? Anna So H. Any concern about this coming Sunday being a trap game with an emotional hangover? I know this is where that sense of culture and attitude are really going to be tested. It actually seems like most of the teams coming up here have started figuring things out, except the Packers. Hate when we zoom in that some of these get cut off. This is a really good pod right now. Oh, there we go. Shoot, we had it. Come on. Anyways, trap game. It's possible, especially the way that it went down. It is a concern, but hopefully Kevin O'Connell got his team back focused, and Josh Dobbs saying all the right things. Where basically it doesn't matter what happened on Sunday if you don't win this Sunday, and he's 100% right in that regard. Next is Carter Goatsinger. I know that you made a video talking about QB options. What's your take on it? I know it's too early to tell, but even if Dobbs takes his team in the playoffs, would you still prefer Kirk with Jerome Ezekiel comes next year? Well, so Kirk's injury, could reduce his free agent options and also the price that he could get in the market. And obviously Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi, like, they love and respect Kirk Cousins. I think that is the plan right now. But Dobbs could change the calculus, and if Jaron Hall comes in as starter and plays well, that also could change the calculus as well. And I mean, could you see all options where Kirk is re-signed, Jaron Hall is here on his rookie deal, and they draft a quarterback, or Jaron Hall and it's Josh Dobbs show and you draft a quarterback, or maybe it's just Josh Dobbs and Jaron Hall as his backup. Who really knows at this stage? But I mean, that's why they play the games. Got a full half season to figure out what the hell is going to happen. Next. Robs, do you think there is a realistic chance that the Vikings will draft a different position other than quarterback in the next draft? Yes. I think the defensive line could make a ton of sense in that regard. I love me some Chris Jenkins from Michigan. Absolutely. Newton from Illinois. Just having someone who's going to be able to two-gap and someone that's not going to be pushed around the middle is going to be fantastic. R3, do you think Zimmer will ever coach in the NFL again after Adams' passing? Haven't heard much about him. I hope he decides to get back into the league at some point. Not really sure. I know that there was rumors that he was going to join Deion's staff in Colorado. Maybe that will be the case if Prime stays put for another year. But, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, the man's been through a lot. And, you know, football's in his DNA. So it wouldn't shock me if he gets back into the game, whether it's college, whether it's the NFL, in some capacity. But, you know, wishing him and his family the best. Justin Colburn. What's your thoughts on the future of the Minnesota Vikings if Cousins does not take a pay cut and resign with the Vikings, and what will it do to JJ? I mean, if Josh Dobbs proves that he can get it done, same thing with Jaren Hall, I don't think that would be an issue with JJ. I think with Jefferson, the holdup has been, like, what is going to happen? Like, he didn't want uncertainty at the quarterback position. And, I mean, if Dobbs or Hall prove that they're the guy, and you convince JJ is like, hey, this makes sense to move on from Kirk, let him go sign with, you know, the Niners or whoever, I think that that does make sense. Asteroid, do you use any data analytics software to calculate and display your own football metric stats? If yes, what do you do? Not my own stats per se, but, you know, we use PFF. We use, well, formerly Football Outsiders, but DVOA, EPA resources and stuff like that. Aaron Davix, do you think Jaren Hall will overtake Nick Mullins on the depth chart, making Hall our QB2 next year and Kirk and a new rookie? Yeah, I think Jaren Hall has already passed Nick Mullins as QB2. Like, even if and when Nick comes back off of IR, I think that Jaren Hall is going to be QB2 the rest of the way, if not the starter the rest of the season and going into next year. Drew Smith, if Ty Chandler balls out for the rest of the season, overtakes Madison on the depth chart, do you think he's a Vikings RB1 in the future? Yes. Yes, I do. Also, are you a fan of Hawaiian food? I love me some Spam. But, yeah, poke is great. Also, I'm a fan of anything that has a lot of pork product. So I'm all in on Hawaii. That's right, man. Osama been smoking. What record do you think the Vikings will finish the season at realistically? So, taking a look. I think the Vikings win out heading into the bye. I think the Vikings beat the Raiders. We'll say they lose at Cincy. It's going to be tough. I'd say they split with the Lions and obviously beat the Packers. So that's 2 losses. So that's 11-6. I think they'll be firmly in the playoff mix, may even be in the NFC North race, because I think the Lions are due for a little bit of a coming back down to earth. Drew Wanska, if Dobbs or Hall pans out and the Vikings do not go quarterback in the next draft, what position do you think they go for? Defensive line. Absolutely. D-line. I think corner is actually less of a need as of late. But defensive line, yes, we got to get back to we have the meats. Mr. Payday, if there is a running back who's Bijan Robinson level in round 1 and we filled our gaps in free agency, how do you feel about drafting a running back round 1? I don't think there's going to be a first-round running back this year. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe day 2, but round 1, no. Lucky C 7 Gaming. I think this one's long if I remember. Okay. Andy, first off, just want to say thank you for embodying what true Vikings fans go through every year and wearing it with pride. Thank you. Anyways, haven't missed a game in 16 years. I've been through all the turmoil. It seems like the chaos is brewing here. My question to you is, do you feel like Josh Dobbs may have reaped the benefits of going out there last Sunday with nothing to lose mentality? Backyard football. Yes. Josh Dobbs, I want to get your opinion. Much love from Charlotte. Skull. Shout out to Charlotte, Queen City. Or is Charlotte the Queen City or Cincinnati? Or are they both? Doesn't matter. Anyways, Josh Dobbs. Yeah, I think that, you know, Josh Dobbs probably had a little bit of nerves those first couple of drives, making mistakes, making fumbles, being a little bit sloppy out there. But eventually he was just like, F it. And, I mean, it was a backyard football game where, I mean, Josh Dobbs was calling the plays. He didn't know what any of it meant, but it was for the protections and the receivers. And he got it done. And people say, well, the Falcons, they didn't have any tape on Josh Dobbs. I don't think that necessarily matters. I really don't. Where I think that Dobbs got it done in a big-time spot, and I think that he will get better as he's integrated more in the offense and actually knows what is going on. But I don't want him to lose that improvisational skills. Keeping plays alive and getting after it. Yeah. I think that he'll be good to go. Next up, Eric Anderson, are there any running backs on other teams' practice squads that would be worth a look? We did have a list. I don't have it in front of me. Maybe I should just poach Leonard Fournette. Who knows, man? But I'm glad that it sounds like Ty Chandler is going to be getting some more work. Wes Phillips was pretty adamant about that, so it's fantastic. Go from there. Supercorp, do you think Kirk's play since Kevin O'Connell took over is more credit to Kirk's ability as a player or Kevin O'Connell's system? He has proven himself as an elite coach. I think it's both. And I think that Jaron Hall looking good for his drive, and also Josh Dobbs is looking really good. I think that's a big time testament to Kevin O'Connell, where he rose the game of Stafford in L.A. and also Kirk Cousins twice. I mean, Kevin O'Connell got Kirk Cousins paid, or certainly helped in that regard. And now, if Jaron Hall or Josh Dobbs balls out the rest of the way, you gotta give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell. Thomas Mix, did you know Cam Dantzler is on the Saints? I did not. There you go. I mean, dude bounced around from like 5 teams in the last 6 months. It's kind of crazy, man. D. Stiller, thought about playing Mile High. I know next week. Do the Vikings have any high altitude mass conditioning to get ready? What's the protocol? I'm not sure, but the Vikings medical and training staff are very, very in sync of what's going to be going on. Like everything that they went through going over to London last year, it's really fascinating. And the Vikings, they did a lot of work, and I'm sure that they're going to be good to go. They're not going to be caught flat-footed, even though this is a very a trip that they make once every 8 years. There you go. Also, the Vikings recently played a preseason game in Denver with this staff. It was last year, right? Because I think that was a big-time Ty Chandler game. So I mean, they're going to know what's up. Also, is Dobbs overhyped? Give me a 2017 NFC Championship game. Too much hype? I think he had a great day, but also I think that it's something that's potentially replicatable, and hopefully we can go from there. Walter Cronkite, what's your most notable play of the season? For me, it's when Kirk stood in a phone booth on Paco versus the Niners, and I could. Well, I mean, it might be the Addison interception turned touchdown right before the half against the Niners. That was a big time play. Other than that, like maybe the Hawkinson drop. We're just like frustrating all season long. Or I don't know, like the Hicks rumble for 6. The Wanham rumble for 6. Actually, hell, Hicks too. Noah Koski, never liked me to see star like JJ go down, but how do you think that's helped Addison's progressing as he's been the substitute number 1 receiver? I think it's helped a lot, where he's had to be wide receiver 1, but also he's been getting wide receiver 1 attention. And now with JJ coming back, probably not this week, but maybe next week, I think that him being now single covered and JJ getting all that attention again, and Addison's progressed and shown that he's an alpha 2. There's going to be a lot of mouths to feed. That's a good problem to have. Graham, do you think the defense will still be good next year after we lose Flores? I mean, Flores deserves a head coaching job. I don't know if he'll get one, but hopefully the defense and whoever takes over will still instill that, will still keep that aggressive mindset. And also, I love that the existing players now they got some swagger, man. I love that they're confident getting after it. I love the turnover celebrations. It's great. Knack Dog, with all this craziness going on with the quarterback position, what do you want to see happen for the rest of the season and moving forward? Do we have our guy? Do we resign Kirko? Do we trade up for a quarterback in the draft? I think all options are on the table right now until Dobbs proves that he's it, or Jaron Hall. I think the default's going to be resign Kirk, and we'll see. Rogue Rage. Should we start Hall when he gets back to see what we really have in him, or should we just fly with Dobbs to the moon? Well, Dobbs is starting on Sunday, and I think it's going to be a week-to-week decision. And maybe it is a spot where you play the hot hand. I'm not about like switching quarterbacks during the game, but getting a guy ready, getting him first-team reps, if he's the guy, great. But also, I think once we get enough sample on Dobbs, like you got to make a decision the rest of the way. Like at the bye week coming up, So say Dobbs starts the next 3 games, so 4-game sample, and if he proves that he's a guy, start him the rest of the way. Name him the starter going into the Raiders game, or make the change then. Just don't go flip-flopping back and forth. I don't think that helps anything or anybody. I'm Milo Blitz. If you could set an international NFL game wherever you want, what location would it be, what teams, and why? So I would pick Macau. So Liverpool, Anfield Road. No. So I would retrofit the Coliseum, put an NFL stadium in there. I actually don't think that regulation NFL field would fit inside the Coliseum, but do it. Do it. Night game. So have whatever team Tommy DeVito is on versus Jimmy Garoppolo, and have it be the Italian Quarterback Bowl. There you go. Never-ending bread bowl. Yeah. Joey Beat Shorts. Do you think JJ will be back week 11, and do you think Dobbs will have another stunt performance? So week 11 is up at Denver. I think that does make sense, sitting him 1 more week and getting a second week full of practice. I think that he does have a very good shot to play week 11. Unless they're completely bluffing with all this hedging and casting doubt against the Saints. And if that's true, that's awesome, and also screw the Saints. Vikes, man. I told my poker buddies last week that my gut said a Vikings quarterback would win Player of the Week, but I thought his name would be Hall. Crazy. Do you agree with me that Kevin O'Connell would still prefer the rookie run the show? I think that the fact that Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi drafted Jaron Hall, and they groomed him all off season, and also he was QB2. They trust him to be that when Nick Mullins went down. I think that shows a lot of trust, and also even though Jaron Hall isn't a spring chicken, 25, he's still younger than Dobbs, and yeah, I think they would prefer that Jaron Hall is going to be that guy. But I mean, it's hard to deny Dobbs if he's doing well. Connor May, I'm here to say Kwesi, I was wrong about heading into year 2. I said he wasn't great. His 2021 class is looking a lot better. 2022 class. Minus seen as 2023 is looking nice and developing well. Yeah, I think that's fair. And also, I mean, these guys, give the guys a couple of years to marinate. And also, if you're on a team where all the rookies are playing, it's usually a bad sign. I mean, the Vikings do have a talented roster. Traveler, do you worry that when JJ returns, Kevin O'Connell's play calling will revert? Hopefully not. Hopefully he doesn't go back to F at JJ's down there somewhere. But just staying creative, and I understand you want to get Justin Jefferson the ball. It makes sense. But scheme everyone open. Go ahead. Rainy day. What if Josh Dobbs continues to tear up defenses? Would there be any chance Jaron gets another shot looking into next year? Would he be a candidate to come back? Well, he's on his rookie deal, so not really going anywhere. But, I mean, if Josh Dobbs continues to just rip the ball, cover off the ball, do it. Just stay with him, man. Zeke. I hope Jets gets hella work and Dobbs spreads the ball like a dog, and the defense keeps balling. Skull, love you, Andy. Love you, too. Yes, firmly on that train, man. ENF, is seen officially a bust, seems to be a healthy scratch every week now. I know our other safeties have been playing good this year, but it's tough when a former first-round pick can't get time over 2 6-rounders and a guy who was originally drafted as a corner. Now, here's the thing, too. So, basically what you're saying is that draft status should matter over how a player is playing. And Theo Jackson and Jay Ward have played great on special teams. Josh Metellus is playing above the rim. Cam Beasley is playing at a Pro Bowl level. And Harrison Smith is Harrison Smith. So what you're saying is Scene should be playing above all those guys, all 5 of them who are playing exceptionally well in their specific roles just because he's a first-round pick. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And I think it's just a spot where Scene is stacked. Well, stacked behind a bunch of dudes who are playing great ball right now, and you're not going to demote Jay Ward. Well, if Jay Ward continues to make stupid penalties on special teams, maybe, but you're not going to demote Jay Ward. You're not going to demote Theo Jackson, who's playing great on teams, just because Lewisine is a first-round pick. You ain't going to do it. Right? So I think it's sort of a moot argument at this point. Plus, knowing the Vikings medical staff, they're taking it very slow with Scene coming back from that leg injury. I mean, he's just over a year removed from it. Oh, we're playing the Saints again, too. Traveler, can you explain why... Can you explain what Kevin O'Connell meant when he said there's a reason you don't see early extensions when talking about JJ extension? Well, it usually just comes down to gauging the market, because also, I mean, if a player signs his deal with two years left, it's kind of taking a leap of faith that the market's going to shape up the way they want, and some teams don't want to do that. Like, it's a deadline-driven league, and a lot of times deals don't get done until they have to. And with extensions, with star players, I mean, you saw it with Bosa. Sometimes it has to go to the mat, and I don't see it going to a holdout stage. I do think that at minimum he'll get extended next offseason when he's got a year left on his deal. But, I mean, it's very rare that a guy gets extended with 2 years left. Unless you're a quarterback like Jumpin' Joe Burrow. Michael Brooks, with JJ being out, and also Herbert, we don't feed anyone the ball, and we are balanced. And when he returns, should we go back to somewhat force-feeding the future GOAT or keep it balanced? I think that you can accomplish both. Where, I mean, yeah, have JJ be your primary read, but also make sure that Dobbs and Hall know that it's perfectly fine to go in other directions. Let's see here. Mr. Raining Fire, how worried should you be about Josh Dobbs' fumbles in 17 games? He's dropped the ball 15 times, lost 8. He won the game on Sunday, being part of 20 points directly, 22 with extra point. But the defense limited Falcons' points off of mistakes, 11 points instead of 23 points possible. Well, I'm concerned about fumbles at every stage, because basically the Vikings, I mean, the Vikings have a perfect record except for the fumbles, right? But, Dobbs, he's got to take care of the football, and, some of it, could you say, getting used to, the fumbles they had weren't necessarily, one was an exchange, but hold on to the ball, everyone. Planes and gains. People who want Hall to start when he gets back healthy, if I get it, you want to see his potential, but I think Hall only had short, easy passes like screens, gimmicky plays to move the ball. I don't know, man, like that fly route to Madison looked pretty good. Dobbs had a game-winning drives with no experience with the team. Definitely the quarterback going forward, in my opinion. Thoughts? If Dobbs continues to play well, yes. Was there a degree of backyard football? Yes. 2-minute drill? Yes. I did like that Kevin O'Connell coached him well, especially getting into up-tempo. Made a ton of sense, given his limited knowledge of the playbook. But again, we'll see. I think that there's certainly something there with Jaron Hall, and also I think that there's certainly something there with Josh Dobbs. You can have both. Jordan Fobb, what would you do if the Vikings won the Super Bowl this year? I would stream naked. Actually, no, probably not. We would have an amazing podcast. We would do winners and losers, here's what we do. We would do a 24-hour stream. Why the hell not at that point? Liam Mann, 99 cents in the super chat. What up? Let's see here. Ben Term Klein. Whoa. Can you make an edit for us about the Vikings denying defeat against the NFL like Rocky? Yo, I hear no bell. We need to get our guy Eli Corbett on that. He's much better than I. Same with Paradise. Can Kirk be back if we make the playoffs? Probably not. Also, I'm not buying that Rodgers comes back this year. I think that he's going to be shelved because, that's a major surgery to come back from. Joshua Skimp. When Jaron Hall comes back, if Dobbs plays well, he plays well. Keep him on the field. Brady, if the Vikings make it to the Super Bowl, do you think the Vikings would stick with Dobbs and leave Cousins or nah? I don't think Cousins will be back at any point this year, even though the Vikings go all the way. Chad Ruler. Still early, but looking at a realistic draft spot for the Vikes, what are some players you really want? Chris Jenkins Jr. at 32. But I think defensive line makes a ton of sense in this spot. Cody's Nuts, is there a way to sync up the game with PA on the radio? KFan 100.3. I feel 110% locked into every snap when he's announcing. Can't stand most of the others. I feel like with YouTube TV, like you can pause and sync up with the radio broadcast relatively easily. We've done that before. Connor, man, I genuinely reckon the last game of the regular season will be the Vikings-Lions Sunday Night Football. Winner wins the division. It's extremely possible. And even if the Lions win out, except for the Vikings games, the Vikings control their own destiny. And it could be a spot where it's like Jacksonville and Tennessee in the last game last season where winner got the division, and it could be like that with the NFC North this year. Let's see here. Alicia, in a world where the Vikings are as bad as the Bears, and we have the first overall pick, do you see the Vikings actually taking Williams if the choice is there after wanting ownership of a team? I think that there's a lot of noise around Caleb Williams right now. I don't believe he wanted equity. I just really don't. But do they take a quarterback? Yes, I think they would. But also, I'm going to put a couple of jelly beans down that Drake May is the first quarterback taken. I think that after all is said and done, Drake May with his size, with his arm, I think that he is going to be the number 1 overall pick. And I think Williams probably going to be 2. And J.J. McCarthy is going to be 3. Blazerhead. Sour gummy worms or Starburst? Both. Not really a chocolate guy, but give me like the fruit candy all the time. There you go. Do the Vikings have the best quarterback in the NFC North? Yeesh. Second best in the NFC North and third best in the NFC North. Where does Greasy Grime and Goof rank among three-headed goat? So Kirk is the best, even though he got hurt. I would say as of right now, Goff is 2, sort of by default. I would say that Dobbs and Hall are 3 and 4 respectively. Frankly, I mean, I like both Dobbs and Hall over Jordan Love. I like them both over Justin Fields. I like them both over Tyson Bagent. Yang, should the Vikings sign James Robinson? It does make sense. I mean, he's a veteran, even though he's like only 24, 25, and I think that he would be a boost for the run game. Chris, the road to, and also he would have knowledge about the Packers offense and defense. The road to the Jerome Barty beginning under Rocket Man, absolutely. Scully, $2 in super chat. Will the Vikings sign Adrian Peterson? Nah. Like the running game, we need burst, and Adrian doesn't have that anymore. Blazerhead, would you rather have 4 arms or 4 legs? 4 arms. Yeah, because even though like walking would be weird, you'd have to scurry around. I think just the advantage of having opposable thumbs, and also there could be some huge benefits there. Like you'd probably be the best drummer in the world. There you go. Mr. Lips, if Dobby and Bad Elf wins us a Super Bowl, will you shave your eyebrows? Yes. Yeah. Wayne Hansen, RPO, will they risk? How fast do eyebrows go back? I'll still do it. RPO, will they risk it if Halston and concussion protocol with the mean Mannion 1 play out? I think they'd be smart about it. Like they're not going to run like RPOs or read options like a college quarterback. I don't think they do that. But just having that look and having that threat and like occasionally the quarterback pulling down and running and when it's open, I mean that does make sense. And also like if a quarterback is adept at running the option, they don't get hit. Or they don't take massive hits generally because it's all about where are they not covering? Are they covering the back? Are they covering the quarterback? Like wherever there's not a defender, that's where the ball goes. Skull, purple and gold. I'm going to the Vikings game. Saints, do you know any good hibachi places in MSP? There's 2 good ones in Uptown, Origami, and Moto I. And there's I forget. There's one like downtown, but it's only open for like lunch. I forget what it's called. It might just be called Hibachi. Went there for lunch one time. It was good. I don't remember the name exactly though. Let's hear. User Bills washed. I think the Bills are very good at playing up or down to their competition, and Josh Allen, I just don't trust him. Like Josh Allen is ass sometimes. He can be really good, but I think overall he's more ass. Pull up reacts. Should Blackman start instead of Byron Murphy? I mean, Murphy had a good game on Sunday. I think a Caleb, Blackman, Murphy, and a little bit of Booth sprinkled in there. That's a pretty solid cornerback room. Then Davenport, Alejandro Marquez. Marcus Davenport's status hasn't been much, so that's not a good sign because he is eligible to come off of injured reserve, I believe, next week or maybe 2 weeks. But yeah, the fact that he hasn't even been spoken about, probably not a good sign. Anyways, that's it. That is the Insomnia live stream Q&A. You guys are the best. Thank you very much for coming along. And Skull production value. You know what to do. There you go. 99.